Welcome to the KBB Review podcast. I'm Andy Davies, and this is episode 5 of season 8. Now, today we're looking at one of the most fundamental questions a potential customer can ask a kitchen or bathroom retailer, which is, how much is it going to cost? More specifically, how do different retailers answer that question? How do they turn it into an effective conversation starter about price and budget? And is, well, how much have you got then, ever the right answer? Joining me to talk it all through, we have Roxanne Baker from Olympus Bathrooms in Kent and old friend of the show, Luke Wedgbury from Coalville Kitchens in Leicestershire. But first, have you got any job vacancies going at the moment? You do? Well, why not post them on our dedicated jobs page on kbbreview.com? It's just 75 quid for 30 days on the KBB industry's leading news, analysis, opinion and interview site. Go to kbbreview.com/jobs for all the details. Plus, of course, you can also go there if you're job hunting to see all the latest posts. That's kbbreview.com/jobs. Okay, let's get down to business and talk about price, cost and client budgets. So joining me as promised is Roxanne Baker from Olympus Bathrooms. Hello, Roxanne.
Hello.
And we have the return of Luke Wedgbury from Coalville Kitchens. Welcome back, Luke.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Really well, thank you very much. So, look, let's start with the quick introductions for those that may not know you. Roxanne, tell us a little bit about Olympus Bathrooms.
So, based in Oxford, Kent, we are a design, supply and install showroom. We have literally just yesterday got the keys to a second showroom in Essex. So, yes, expanding, upgrading and renovating for the next couple of months. Exciting.
Well, congratulations for that. And Luke, give us the 10 seconds on Coalville.
So Coalville Kitchens is a kitchen specialist. We design, supply and install. Based in the heart of Leicestershire, we've got a 4,000 square foot showroom, which is wonderful. And yeah, there's about 12 staff there. And we also own a Kitchen House franchise and there's 2 sales staff over there. So my job is to run the sales team. I run a small team of 5 salespeople within the business.
Well, that brings us on to our topics. So this is really all about, I think, how you communicate cost and price when there are so many factors that make that a massively variable thing. So, Luke, let's start with you. When someone first comes into your showroom for an initial inquiry, do you like or dread getting the "what does it all cost" question?
Absolutely love it. It's the holy grail of all questions. I think that the main reason being that it slams the door wide open to that conversation about the dirty word, which is money and budget. And you're talking about it straight away, really early on in the relationship. What I particularly like about it is people aren't daft. People aren't stupid. They know how much kitchens and bathrooms and bedrooms cost, even if it's just a quick Google search or a quick price calculator. We live in an internet-based world. People have access to this information all the time. When we get asked that question or when any of our sales guys get asked that question, what they're really asking is, how much is a kitchen or bathroom from you? That's what they're asking. And that's why I love it, because it gives you the ideal opportunity to start selling your value, because all of us independents, we all offer something different. We all offer something that's a USP and the value we bring to the table is different to the value that somebody else brings. So I absolutely adore the question, and I wish that everybody would walk in and ask it, because it instantly strikes up that conversation about money and it lets you start selling your values right from the word go.
So how about you, Roxanne? If someone just starting out asks you roughly what a bathroom from Olympus might cost, do you see it as an open door to push, like Luke says, or is it a subject you kind of skirt around?
No, we definitely don't skirt around it. We do something which I'm not sure lots of other showrooms do, but we definitely do it. So to kind of get to the budget point, because I know some clients can be a bit vague about budget, we have an initial chat with them first. So we kind of run it that an inquiry comes in, whether it be by the phone or an email, and we book an initial call with them. So on that call is a really good way of getting, because we are the mid to high end of the bathroom world, that call basically narrows down as to whether we're suitable for them, they're suitable for us, and gives a real good opportunity to talk about how much an install costs, how much a suite costs. And sometimes it's not for them and we're too expensive, or they're not what we thought they were, or they say, yeah, let's go for it. Because I think sometimes, I know Luke touched on this point, that we live in an internet world and there's everything's available online. But sometimes when we've had a few customers that come in that are surprised at the cost of things. So I think having an initial chat with them helps draw the information and, you know, what they want out of us and what they expect from their bathroom. And that's a really good way before they even come into the showroom of having just a general chit chat with them, and it opens the door to talking about budget.
I think that is one of the differences between kitchens and bathrooms in this particular subject, is that you can go into lots of places and look at a bathroom suite and it says it's $299 or whatever it is. You know, you go into a big shed or whatever. And so there is much more published prices for what individual products might cost you in bathrooms, whereas it's not the same for kitchens, apart from appliances, maybe. So I guess that's one of the things you must get, Roxanne, is people saying, hang on a minute, I've seen a suite for 300 quid in B&Q or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Luke, you love this question. What is your standard response? I mean, how do you, what's your, in your head, your script when someone asks you how much one of your kitchens is then?
Well, there is a standard response. Yeah, I will often say to the sales team, listen, compliment the question straight away. Make sure that you tell the client that that's a great question. And what it gives you then is the opportunity is to dig into what they need. So we kind of almost, reverse the sales angle. We as sales designers, we get we get stuck in the weeds of selling. We're here to sell. That's what we need to do. We kind of get focused on that. And it's almost a bit tunnel vision. So if somebody is to ask that question, we always compliment them. And then we reverse the angle by stop selling and start fixing what they actually need us to fix. Because if they're coming in to purchase a bathroom or a kitchen, they've made the decision to make a big purchase. But between them making that decision and then actually having it done and finished, there's lots of hurdles in the way that they're going to have problems with. So you need to dig in and to find out what the issues are, what the main problems they're going to come across, and be the fixer rather than being the salesperson. Be the person to say, well, I can fix that problem. This is what we do here in this business. We can fix this problem and fix that problem. You need to have it designed. We can fix that. You need to have it priced. We can fix that. You need to have it installed. We can fix that problem. You need to have it commissioned. We can fix all that problems. You need aftercare. We can fix all of those problems. So absolutely compliment the question and really start to dig into what the client's looking for, because once you know what they're looking for, they might just want a supply only. So then, you can value engineer that, or they might want the whole project seeing through to the end. So you can really start to get an idea of what their individual project is actually going to cost by asking the right questions.
What about you, Roxanne? Do you have a sort of standard answer?
Yes, so a bit like Luke. So when we have the initial chat, we are quite straight to the point. Firstly, find out what they want. Do they want supply only? Do they want supply and install? Are they doing a contract side, like running a bigger project? Once we've established that, then we talk about the service that we offer and how we can help them. Then we kind of talk about price. So our installs start around the £10,000 mark. With that, all of our team are in-house. They're all PAYE, no subcontracting. So if there's ever any problems, you only have us to come back to. So the install is around about the 10k mark, depending on how it can go up if it's a bigger room. And then for suite wise, we would say minimum is between 5 and 6. And, you can go anywhere up to like 30 grand. The world's kind of your oyster. And obviously we touch on a bit like colours cost more, finishes cost more. And then generally I pause and wait and ask them if they've got any questions. 9 times out of 10, they say, yeah, that sounds good to me. Can we book in a site visit? Away we go.
Right, so you're straight in with some example prices then?
Yes.
Right, okay. Look, this is all very positive, Luke, right? So, but I'm going to be devil's advocate again. As always, that's my job. I'm wondering if customers are naturally wary of quite vague answers of things, right? It's all in the eyebrows, isn't it? Do they think they're being sold to when you're turning around a perfectly reasonable question back on to them? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes absolute sense. And I think the question that we're digging into now is initial point of contact. Someone's picked up the phone and rung the showroom, or someone's walked in and you're having that initial chat. I think it's all about building relationships. And once you start to have that conversation with people, we have very similar to what Roxanne is saying. We have a sales process where we do have an initial point of contact, and that's a very light-hearted 10-minute chat within the showroom or over the phone or even over email or even over Messenger these days on WhatsApp. There's lots of ways to contact us. We then book them in for an initial free of charge consultation. And that's quite an official appointment. That is, you're going to come in, see our sales designer at 11 o'clock on Thursday and sit down and have a chat. And it's all about making people feel as relaxed as possible as soon as possible. And you do that by building relationships. And so there always is that little bit of, yes, when you first meet somebody in any kind of showroom, you always feel like you're going to be sold to. You walk into a car showroom and the car salesman is on you straight away. Hi, how can I help? You instantly on guard. Oh, I'm just looking, thank you. I'm just looking. I just want to have a look at some cars. And then they're on you and they want to chat. So to overcome that, you've got to kind of almost explain the process to them. So if a customer can see their journey, they won't feel pressured between each point. So we will initially, when we get that first point of contact in the showroom, explain to them our process. Okay, great. You're in the showroom. You've met us. Bit of a handshakey moment. You like our products. You like us. If you want to move things forward, here's how it works. There's a consultation, there's a design survey, there's a presentation, there's all these bits and pieces. And it's even drew on our wall in our main showroom in Coalville, the journey, the customer journey. And once people see it and understand it, they then relax. And guess what? When they relax, they drop their guard. And guess what? When they drop their guard, they start to talk about opening budgets and what they expected to spend and what they might be pushed to. So it's all about transparency, I think. I think it's about explaining to them what the process is within your business. Everyone's got separate processes. But once you explain, people, in my experience, history tells me people tend to start to relax then. It's
funny you say about cars, because cars, mattresses and sofas are the three worst retail experiences in the world, right? Awful. And this is, I suppose this is what puts people on the back foot a little bit, isn't it, Roxanne? Is there a danger of putting potential customers off by coming across as salesy? It's a very crude way of saying it, right? But if the answer to how much is that is, well, how much have you got? I can see how much that would put customers on the back foot, and you have to kind of wind them back in again.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, I think honesty is the best policy. And if you have an initial chat with them on the phone, then you aren't wasting any customers' time, and you yourself are not wasting any time by finding out if they're the right fit for you and we're the right fit for them. And I think if you're honest, then it definitely wheedles out. And this isn't something that we've always done. This initial chat we've probably implemented the past year or so, and it definitely helps wheedle out time wasters.
Do you mean time wasters or people who have just completely underestimated how much a bathroom costs?
No, not completely underestimated, because we try to cater to all budgets, but time wasters as in they're just going to look around the showroom, take a few pictures of things and then go and buy everything online.
Right, okay. So look, Luke, you obviously want to talk about money earlier on. Roxanne brings the numbers up straight away. What are the pros and cons about getting money in straight away by starting off with that conversation? Because there must be cons to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pros is exactly what Roxanne and you just touched on. Is getting rid of the tire kickers, getting rid of the time wasters. Because listen, this industry is full of them. Unfortunately, we are retailers. And if you're in retail, then you are open to the world. And both of the stores that we own are high street retail outlets. So we do get a lot of people in asking silly questions. And it is what it is. You know, you just got to cope with it. That's exactly what you've got to come up against.
Oh, like what? You've got to say like what now?
Well, I mean, somebody will come in and say, somebody will just walk in off the street and say, how much is that sink and tap? And we don't sell just sinks and taps. Yeah, but how much is it if I was going to buy it from you? Well, we don't. That's kind of not what we do. Yeah, well, can't you give me a price? But well, not really, not exactly. Do you want it to fit it? Yeah, all kinds of daft questions, and we have to deal with them. And so there are time wasters, and I think getting to the bottom of where people are at in regards to monetary value, i.e. budget, early doors, is only a positive, and talking about it up front is only a positive, because do you know what? We have customers that come into us that say they've got £10,000 to spend, and in their world and in their life, £10,000 is a huge amount of money. For all I know, they could have been saving £1,000 a year to get £10,000 in the bank, enough to go and buy a kitchen. Now, would a £10,000 budget, would we be able to provide what they want for £10,000? Probably not. So it's good to kind of dig into A, how much they've got, and then B, what do they want out of that? I don't see many negatives from talking about money early on, as long as you back it up with the need to talk about money. So, for example, you can stand at one display and say, right, okay, if you've got a £10,000 budget, if you look at this display here, yes, you could get a kitchen for £10,000 of this size. but it wouldn't have these quartz worktops, and it wouldn't have these Miele appliances, and it wouldn't have this Elica hob. It would be very different. And that's straight away. That's literally within 5 minutes. Start talking about it straight away. If you're in the showroom, you're stood at a bathroom or you stood at a kitchen, ask the question, do you like this kitchen? And they're going to say, well, yeah, I quite like that. It's similar to my size. Okay, well, this kitchen, if you were to purchase it now and have it fitted, would be around about £25,000 with all the bells and whistles. Is that where you're at? And they'll either just go, actually, yeah, it is where we're at. Or they'll go, well, no, we're nowhere near that. Well, okay, let's start talking about something else, some different materials and some different products. I don't see many negatives other than there are a certain amount of people who just do not want to talk about money, full stop. And they are very annoying.
but I can sort of see, again, the devil's advocate in me, I can sort of see the point of view, whereas if you're wary of being sold to, the moment you say, I've got 20 grand, then lo and behold, that's miraculously going to be the exact price you come back with for whatever it is you're trying to sell them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. But you have to be able to materialise it with something. You have to be able to put something against the 25 grand.
People want a comparison as well, definitely.
Yeah, and the fact that Roxanne and I have showrooms to show somebody, if I avoid these conversations like the plague over the phone. Like the plague. I will not talk about budget and money over the phone because I don't think you have nothing to compare it to. In a showroom, you can point at something and you can stand and see, Roxanne could point at a bath and say, do you like that bath? I love that bath. How much is that bath? Well, that bath's £4,000. Oh, well, that's way over my budget. Well, okay. I can get you a bath that looks like that for around about £2,000. It's not as good a quality. You won't get a 10-year guarantee. You get a 5-year, etc., etc. How does that sound, kind of thing? They're the conversations I love to have in showrooms because you can point at something and show them what they're getting for their money as opposed to it's a bit fluffy over the phone.
Let's talk about pricing in the showroom then, Roxanne, because Luke's talked about it there. Someone comes in, points at a tap and says, how much is that? I'm sure you get that too.
Yeah.
Do you have any pricing on display in your showroom at all? Do you have any tags on anything?
Nothing. And it's always been that way.
And I assume you're the same, Luke, are you?
Absolutely nothing.
I'm trying to think now of any showrooms I've ever been in that aren't Bath Store or Wren or whatever that have prices on things. So how do you touched on a bit there, Roxanne, but how do you communicate costs to people when they ask? If somebody points at that bath that Luke's just said and says, how much is this? Do you tell them, or do you go, it's about that, or we can come to an agreement? What do you say?
Yeah, I would say it's around about the blah, blah mark, like the £2,000 mark or the £3,000 mark or whatever. And then you kind of gauge their reaction. I think most people coming in have an idea of what they want to spend. And even like Luke said, some people don't want to give away their budget, but then that leads to so much, that can lead to time wasting as well, because you could price up like 4 rooms and you think, okay, well, they've liked all of this and blah, blah, blah. So I've done it how they want it. Then they come back and say, well, no, I can't afford that. That's like £5,000 out of my budget. So I do think there is a definite important element to being honest and being upfront with pricing and things, because otherwise, how much time can you waste if you're not on track with someone's budget? But yeah, going back to products in the showroom, we've never had any price tags on anything. 2 reasons. I think prices are changing all the time. How many price increases do we get notified about? Probably weekly. And secondly, I think if people ask, it opens up the conversation to talk about where are they in their project? Are they at the start? Are they literally need to order the suite now? What are they looking for? Do they need install? Do they need supply only? I think people asking questions about products opens up the doors to having a wider conversation about what they want out of our showroom.
I think that having prices on individual items in an independent retail showroom in the KBB sector completely undermines and wipes away the value you bring to the table.
Agreed.
And here's why. If you go into a Bath store or a Wren and you can see prices everywhere, it feels like a bloody supermarket. It feels like you're walking into somewhere and you're picking stuff off the shelf and you don't really get a customer service and you don't really get much of a relationship building exercise. But if somebody is purchasing from an independent retailer, A, they want value for money, but But B, actually, what they really want is they really want to be looked after. They're in your showroom for a reason. And if they see prices on things, it feels like a bit of a kind of, this is the price of that. You can pick that up, put it in your trolley and walk away, no questions asked. Whereas we offer, in all independents, or I speak broadly, I would like to think that most independents offer a really, not only a bespoke design service, but a bespoke customer journey, a bespoke service that we dig into and say, well, your bathroom or your kitchen is completely unique to you. There is nothing off the shelf that we can just pick up and build. We're going to build this a bespoke package and make you feel special. It's all about making them feel like they're the king and queen of the showroom and make them feel as special as possible. And I don't think you can do that if you've got prices over everything.
Okay, right, so devil's advocate again, I guess all that, but surely having some kind of indication, a benchmark of price would help you with the tyre kickers. Like if someone's just wandered into your showroom without any sort of idea, they're having a look around and there was a price on the room set, for example, you could get this entire kitchen for this, they would instantly be able to benchmark it in their own head of whether that was in their ballpark or not. Yeah,
I completely agree, but to play devil advocate against that,
you can't devil's advocate the devil's advocate,
yes,
Luke.
Yes, because we need to, it's our job to build relationships. And I know I keep banging this drum, but it's so important from a sales perspective.
People by people.
Yeah, if somebody comes into the showroom and sees a kitchen set for £15,000 and they say, oh, yeah, I can afford that, that's quite nice. But then they keep on browsing and eventually they walk out the showroom. Well, that's no good to me, but I don't spend thousands of pounds on my showroom to let people come in, have a look at the price and then walk away. I want my design consultants and salespeople to instantly start building relationships with these people, and I want them to ask the clients. So I want my salespeople to say to a client, Mr. and Mrs. Smith off the street, when they walk in, oh, how much would you expect something like this to cost? Rather than it being the other way around, rather than Mr. and Mrs. Smith say, well, how much would this cost? I want my sales guys to say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how much do you think something like this would cost? And then they will go, well, I don't know, about 10, 15, 20. Well, great. Okay. Something like this would cost. And then you can start talking about it and you're instantly building a relationship. And if the cost is 20 and their budget is 20, I guarantee you they're not going to walk away. They're going to go, okay, great. I've met you. You seem lovely. Can we book in for a consultation? This is within our budget. So, having pricing on things can lead to people walking away quite easily because they look at that. Oh, I know how much that's cost. That's great. Yeah, we can afford it. No, we can't afford it. We're going to go walk away and keep on browsing. Having no pricing on anything means they have to ask questions, and by asking those questions is how you generate the leads.
And people, and I don't know if you both have ever done this, but you are more likely to buy something if you like the person that you're buying from. If you make that connection, like Luke's saying, and you build a relationship with that person, you want to buy the product. I bought my sofa off of a lovely lady down at DFS, and I thought, and I have also from experience not bought something because I don't like the person, especially like car salesmen. If you don't click with that person and you don't make that connection and build the relationship, you are in danger of losing the sale. So I think going back to Luke's point, it is incredibly important to build customer relations, and not having price tags on things is a really good way to do that.
Well, look, Roxanne, if you had a sales experience like that at DFS, I suggest you give that person a job.
I actually did offer her a job.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
I bought a mattress once. I'm not going to name the store, but on the Purley Way in Croydon. And we were stood there looking at it, as you just do. You're looking at a mattress. And the guy walks up, and literally the first words out of his mouth were, I'm sure I could ask my boss and get 25% off that.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he said.
That's distasteful.
Okay, so you have room sets, and you might be able to talk through roughly what a room set might cost with people. Do you have any other sort of assets that you use? Do you, for example, get pictures out of real kitchens or real bathrooms that you've done and talk through how much that costs? Do you have case studies, I guess?
Yes, so we have some on our website, and we also, our sales guys have iPads where they have downloaded projects where we can show them, because lots of the displays in our showroom are then put into installs. Lots of people come in and say, I want it to look exactly like that. So we kind of bring up the iPad and show the projects, and then again, this leads on to another price. So we can say, well, that roughly costs blah if you want it like that. And yeah, the case studies are really important. I also use, obviously, Instagram as a really good tool to showcase things. And customers often come in and say, oh, I love that picture you put up yesterday. I want that shower valve, or I want my niche to look like that. So it's definitely, pictures are really, really important, definitely in, the bathroom and kitchen world.
What do you think? Do you use case studies to illustrate cost?
We do something quite similar. Obviously, lots of case studies online, lots of projects on our website, which also give a budget as well. So, this is a great case study, and it cost, 30, 40, whatever the cost was. But what we do in-house is we actually show somebody a project design agreement, which is a fancy word for a quote, but we don't do quotes, because everybody else does quotes, we need to be different. So we do something called a project design agreement, and we show it to the clients. We show them, so we'll have a bank of kind of maybe 5 or 6 in the office, and if somebody comes in, they're talking about a particular project, we will say, right, okay, give me 2 seconds, I'm just going to grab something I worked on recently, and they'll go into the office and grab a project design agreement that we did for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Their details are obviously blanked out, and we show them, look, this is what we sold recently, and you get the wonderful presentation pack, you get the quotation, you get all the CAD images and the plans, and people go, oh wow, great, yeah, that is similar to my kitchen. You go, yeah, it is very similar to yours. It's a U-shape, true handleless German kitchen, and it cost Mr. and Mrs. Smith £35,000. Is that what you were thinking? And they go, actually, yeah, it was, yeah, wonderful. So, and they also get a little taste then. It's a nice little tip for anybody listening. They get a little taste of what they're going to get if they get a quotation or go down the line with us. So at the end of the quotation, by the time we finish this process, whether you order with us or not, you're going to get this. You're going to get this pack. You have all these images. You're going to have a plan. You're going to have a quote. And you'll be able to walk away with that. So it's another little kind of sales trick, actually, to kind of go to people. Well, listen, if this is the kind of project you want us to do, look how capable we are of doing. And if you want to have a quotation from us, this is what you'll get.
It's that difference, isn't it, between direct quote and a mental benchmark, isn't it? I think that's part of what this whole conversation is about. Both you and the client starting off in a general conversation and reaching a point of specifics. I think that's a big part of this.
I couldn't agree more. And I think it's that kind of no man's land, isn't it? You've got to have the confidence, actually, because you'd be surprised how many design consultants and salespeople that we've had working for us and have a mental block when it comes to talking about price and money early on.
Yeah,
Whereas
agree.
For me, I always see it as it's such a beneficial thing to the client. And when you deliver it with confidence and deliver it that it's of benefit to you, i.e. the client, to talk about this, then it's you get across that no man's land quite quickly.
I mean, we're talking about communication of price and cost here, but there is a cost of living crisis going on at the moment. I dispute the word crisis sometimes with some people, but do you think the consumer is more conscious of price at the moment? Are they asking more questions than you would expect, Roxanne?
To be completely honest with you, we are located in quite an affluent area, and don't get me wrong, people do have a budget that they want to stick to, but in the same breath, we don't seem to be having a cost of living crisis around here.
Well, no, I guess it's more of a consciousness of value for money, isn't it? They are conscious of what things cost and how much things have increased in cost, no matter how much money you have in your pocket. But people still want value for money.
Yeah, they still want to stick to a budget, and even with a really healthy budget, they've still got the parameters of it. But I think with us, they get the value for money. It's all in-house fitters. It's us. It's myself and my husband's run business. And it's the family approach, the friendly, the personable, like we were saying before, people buying people, and not necessarily, like, people don't know that, the average Joe Bloggs that walks on the street, they don't know who Dan Sani is. They don't know who, some of them know who Hansgrohe is, but lots of them don't know what Axor is. And people are buying you, selling it to them to fit their brief. And like Luke said, understanding the price and conveying that across is important. And, if people see the value in something, and particularly some manufacturers are offering amazing guarantees even on finishes nowadays, people realise that. And if they think they're getting a good, well-rounded service from us, they are happy to go ahead.
What do you think, Luke? Is value for money more of an issue at the moment? Are people asking more questions about cost?
I think we live in a post-COVID world where our sector is flooded with lots of options. If you want to purchase a kitchen and bathroom these days, you have lots and lots of options. There has been, let's be honest, we've been very lucky over the past kind of 4 or 5 years. COVID has been awful for lots of sectors, but for our sector, we've seen a boom. We are seeing a levelling out now. We are seeing it coming back down to what I would say pre-COVID levels of some kind of normality. And I do believe that people are, I wouldn't say that our target market, like Roxanne has alluded to, I wouldn't say that our target market are feeling the pinch. But what I would say is they are more likely to maybe just get another price comparison, or maybe just have a look somewhere else, rather than just going to one place and placing the order, which you know, I would estimate, and we look at these figures quite a lot, 30% of our clients that place an order with us have just come to us. But that leaves a big 70% of people who are shopping around. And I think my point is, when you sit down on the sofa at night and you are having a chat with your partner, or if you're on your own and you say, listen, let's purchase a kitchen, or let's purchase a bathroom or a bedroom, whatever it is in our sector. As soon as you start searching online, because a lot of us have done extremely well, we have a lot of money to spend on our marketing. And if somebody searches for luxury kitchens in Leicestershire, they're going to get an advert from me. I know they are, because that's how we've built it. So, but they're also going to get adverts from other people as well. So, you know, we live in this world which is flooded with lots of options. So I think pricing is important. I think you have to you have to sell your value and sell your unique selling points, but you have to be in the same market as other people within where you sit on that pyramid, whether it's in the middle or at the top. You have to be there, and you have to be aware of it as well, and be wary that people are, of course, potentially going to look elsewhere. And you have to make sure that your pricing is where you want it to be ultimately. You know, where your profit margin needs to be, where your gross needs to be. As long as it's there and you're comfortable, great, that's fine. But you do have to keep an eye on it. Right.
So we're going to conclude now with the most important question. It's the one reason everyone tunes in to find this bit out from people. We've been doing it for a few episodes now. Okay, so Luke, we'll start with you as our old hand. What is your baked potato filling of choice?
Oh, wowzers. Jeez. Right. Okay. Well, it's got to be.
It's the hardest question to ask.
It is.
I know.
But I'm just.
I wasn't prepared for this one.
Wow. Well, I hope I beat you too, because I'd be gutted if you stole my answer. So I'm going to go for. It's got to be tuna mayo.
Oh my God, I was actually going to say that.
Wow, I'm glad he asked me first, because tuna mayo is the king of all toppings.
Now I just look like a copycat.
So are you going tuna mayo as well, Roxanne?
Well, that was going to be my preference.
That's fine. If that's your filling of choice. It's interesting because I would have gone, the cheesy beans option seems to be getting outnumbered by the tuna at the moment. So it's quite interesting in the grand Premier League of baked potato filling. That's really interesting. Now, the thing for you two now is you've got to imagine you got into a cafe to get that baked potato, right? You've walked up to the counter and said, how much for a baked potato? And they say, well, you know what, if you could let me know how much you'd like to spend on a baked potato, I can let you know all the fillings that may be available to you. How would you feel about that?
Happen, because they'd have to then give me some options. What kind of potato would you like, sir? How long would you want it cooked? Where do you get the cheese from? And then they can upsell me, and I might spend 50 pence more on some posh tuna.
Yeah,
you never know.
Do you want butter on it?
Well, look, Luke, Roxanne, thank you so much for your time. It's such an interesting peek behind the curtain stuff, this. It's always fascinating to find out how retailers deal with this kind of thing. So thank you again, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Speak to you soon.
That was Roxanne Baker and Luke Wedgbury. Huge thanks to them for that. I think this is one of those things that all retailers have to have an answer for, but everyone probably handles it in a slightly different way. So it's always useful to see what other companies are doing and compare what you do with others. Don't forget that if you're job hunting or hiring, you can use kbbreview.com/jobs. It's just 75 quid to post your vacancy for 30 days. And of course, anyone can browse all the available jobs for free. So that's kbbreview.com/jobs. See you next time.